Hello again, everybody. Welcome back with us for the new year. Preston Cray joining you here for RedChair Podcast episode number 7. Really stoked to have a bunch of new content for you guys this year, and a very special guest joining us in the studio today. Mr. Del Hayes, newest singer-songwriter from the block of Northern Colorado. How you doing, my friend?
Good, man. How's it going?
Not bad myself.
Right on.
You're a fairly well-unknown talent here in the north side, is that right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, just been, working on music, just kind of in my room alone, and, trying to get it out there as much as possible now. So, figuring that out, and yeah, man.
Yeah, well, we're real stoked to have you at the studio today, man. It's really appreciate you coming by to answer a couple questions, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself as well. Understand you just got done recording your first record.
Yeah,
first time
man.
Studio experience, first time on the tracking. How did that go for you?
It was awesome, man. It was a dream come true, absolutely, and was so much fun every single step of the way.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Then I guess we can kind of start it for the viewers at home as well. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of when you started playing music, what kind of influences that you had growing up to, and how that's kind of influenced what you're doing now.
Yeah, well, I was always around music. My mom was a singer, and she was in a band with my father, and just always kind of around music all my life. And my mom had an acoustic guitar, always around in our house, and always picked it up, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And, figured out Smoke on the Water and all those good songs, and got lessons from a friend in Netherlands, and ever since then, just whenever I was bored and had nothing to do, I was like, oh, I'll just play guitar, and never really put it down. And my creative spark was always through songwriting and that stuff, but constantly always around music.
Very cool. What were some of your biggest influences when you started up? What kind of influenced you to pick up the guitar and start playing?
Basically one of my biggest influences was Jeff Buckley, and
nice.
he heard Grace, and that album just completely blew my mind, and what he could do, and obviously Hallelujah, and and yeah, from that moment on, I was like, yeah, music, singer-songwriter stuff is that awesome, and also like a bunch of blues influences, Clapton, Hendrix, and and then leaning towards more like sort of John Mayer-ish, Dave Matthews sort of stuff, and Jack Johnson, and sort of singer-songwriter-y type of things. But I was constantly writing songs in high school and singing and performing and doing that stuff.
I hear a lot of rock influence with it too. Like you get a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan from what I've heard from your stuff there too.
Totally.
Even some stuff, of course, Eric Clapton and Cream, like you were saying before. A lot of different kind of mix and blend of that soft kind of folk, acoustic, indie stuff, but then you still have a little bit of punch and a little bit of impact from some of the heavier stuff
Yeah,
as well.
Absolutely, man. It was just through constantly listening to, and stuff like, Joni Mitchell all the time. My mom had constantly Joni Mitchell and Paul Simon on constantly, and so it was a mix of between my mom's sort of music that she had growing up in the house, and then radio stuff like classic rock and those kind of influences, and all the greats, Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, the Beatles, all those guys.
all the big ones.
Yeah.
Well, then kind of transitioning that as well too. I mean, being a singer-songwriter and doing this on your own too. I know this was your first endeavor to try and make some recorded tracks and kind of get your music more published out there. Being a first-time person in a studio, what were some of the kind of the big challenges you had to overcome at the start, and maybe what are some good tips and tricks you can give to other people who are maybe looking to go into the studio experience as well and start getting their tracks out there as well? What were some things that were kind of tough for you at the start, but maybe some things that people should keep in mind as they go into it for that first time?
Totally. Yeah. One of the things for me was that, I, being a singer-songwriter, it was, I had all the songs written down on acoustic guitar, and, I had the lyrics down, so I had basic melody and that on the acoustic guitar. But otherwise, I really didn't have any idea what I was going to do, but I had an idea of like, all right, I want drums, I want bass, I want this and that. But I just didn't first of all, have the musicians to do that with, and also being like, all right, well, I don't know really how to structure this or what would go here. So during the studio process, it was a lot of improvisation on the spot, a lot of trial and error for figuring out what goes best here, and then also what I want to convey musically and artistically. But I think it worked out really well. But yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, I didn't really have charts or anything down. I had the basic structure of the song, with guitar and stuff, and kind of built it from there.
And you're kind of a one-track wonder the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, when we were having the meeting here in doing this endeavor, I was like, all right, I want this and this horn string. It was like, and then bring it down to doable things that I think will be possible. And, it definitely turned out the way that it should, for sure. And it's
so maybe being really realistic with what your expectations were and what kind of you wanted the direction to go with as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel like the staff, it was easy to convey that to with the engineer as well, and to be able to have feedback to bounce around between other different people in music, as well as people who are helping you with the tracking and mixing and all that?
Extremely.
Was having that extra source kind of very helpful to kind of guide you as well, and to help you more with the decision making process as it kind of unfolded?
Yeah, absolutely. And the expertise of everybody involved was extremely helpful. And really, the studio was so great in that really the only thing that I had to do was to figure out what are my limits as a musician, and to not have any strain with, the limits of the technology, the limits of other musicians, the limits of this and that. It was really like, all right, what, can I do to the best of my ability? And that was extremely helpful in the flexibility, and I could breathe.
Absolutely. Appreciate you letting me throw a couple hits on your album as well there too.
Oh yeah, man.
Be sure to check
absolutely.
it out. Your host Floyd
Sick
Preston
drum
plays
tracks,
drums
man.
on those as
Sick
well.
drum tracks, absolutely.
But then kind of going from there to being that first time experience as well too. Now that you're pretty much finished up and wrapping up with the process, about to release some things as well. Was there a big takeaway that you got from it all too that you really want to keep in mind for the next time you pursue this too, or as you kind of expand upon your work, kind of go more public with it as well? Is there maybe some like one big thing that you want to take with you to the next time that you go through this experience as well?
Yeah, probably, always just being more prepared, I think, just to make the process easier.
What do you mean kind of by more prepared?
Just as far as what you can do as musician-wise, bare basic, for me, just like have the parts memorized, and then, that's musicianship, and then artistically, what idea do I want to convey as far as that? Because, it's a art form first and foremost, that's where I come from, and to have an idea of, all right, what can I do? And then have the flexibility for that to change as much as you want it to, because always everything that you have in your head and then try to put it down in reality, that process in itself is always different. And but just I think be relaxed and have fun, because like I had so much fun doing this, man. It was the best thing ever. It was awesome.
I feel like a lot of people get stuck in that loop there too. Like a lot of us take it very seriously in the music side of things, especially us in the music business as well, and we tend to get caught up in a lot of the fluff and the flair too, and we just kind of forget at the end of the day that it's all about really making art and just having fun with it.
It is,
and
man.
enjoying the music that you put out there too, and really kind of vibing with it as much there too, thinking it from an audience perspective, like if I just wanted to listen to good tunes, why am I putting all this extra flair on it too? At the end of the day, it's just about making fun tracks that I can bob my head and dance to.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I always I think I said to a buddy one time that like, what are all musicians like that can relate to, no matter what genre it is? And I think one thing was like, stop making noise, no, and continue.
I feel like that's very counterproductive in the industry that we work in there.
Stop making noise, kid. No, I will not do that. And just continue. I will be organized in making that noise.
Fair. Well, that I guess kind of being said from that there too, for this next direction that you go there too, do you feel like you grew a lot as a musician from the experience and a lot of the lessons that you learned with it too via the trial and error? Do you think that's a lot of things that you think a lot of people can benefit from going into a bigger studio experience and maybe kind of taking a lot of things that they're not very familiar with and being very uncomfortable with it? Do you think that would be very helpful, especially even for pros,
absolutely.
let alone the beginners as well?
Extremely, man. It definitely pushed me to the end of my comfort zone, which in music is really, really good to do.
That's how we get better.
Absolutely. It's, just to keep pushing, and something, this experience just can't be done, sitting in your room, playing and stuff like that. You have to like go out and try to do that. And, it's an always constant ebb and flow of, the way music is and the way things change, man. But this, being in the studio and like that and being in the environment is something to be like, all right, now like, everything that I was trying to dream about this being was actually happening, and like doing that and be like, man, just have fun with it. I think that's really the most important thing that like I can say really is just like, we're here to make music. We're here to, make people feel something, and just have fun with it. Like, it's so much fun.
Be really concise, really organized and focused, but still be sure to have fun with it as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, I've heard the tracks front to back too, especially being a part of the record, and it was such an honor to do that too, because there's so much talent in there, and you being a person who did a majority of the instruments for your album as well too. I mean, it's just so refreshing to still see that talent coming up around you, especially in the local scene for many people who maybe get overlooked despite the talent they have as well too. So I mean, us as a community especially, we're really excited to get to work with you, and I know the community in general is going to be very, very excited to have you in the circuit as well too.
Thanks,
so no, you're not playing any upcoming shows in the very, very short future there too, but I know you play a lot of uptown Fort Collins, a lot of
a lot of Fort Collins stuff, absolutely, and open mics, coffee house gigs, bar stuff, trying to get a band together. But I'm down in the square, always around, always playing music.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Well, man, I can't tell you how much of it is a pleasure to have you here, to get to work with you, and also to get to know you a little bit better, as well as let the people at home know a little bit more about you as well. I mean, it's just an absolute pleasure to be able to.
Thank you so much, man. I mean, without you, dude, I wouldn't have this, and thank you so much for drumming sick beats on my record, man. Absolutely.
I'm all right. I like to play fun stuff, just like you as well.
Oh yeah, man.
Well, for our members at home and the people that follow our page as well, be sure to jump over to Dell's Facebook as well as his YouTube channel. He puts a lot of his own snippets up every so often there too, so you can kind of get an idea of the new things he's got, as well as a couple of the old favorites he'll have for his record. Also be on the lookout for his record coming out in the next couple months called To Be So Bold. Del Hayes, self-titled. Really, really phenomenal record. A lot of great work put into it, and a lot of great soul too. So tons of emotion, tons of feel. I know it's going to get very, very well received with everybody.
Yeah, hopefully, man. Absolutely. Thank you so much, dude.
But future episodes, be sure to stay tuned to our YouTube channel as well, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at RedChair Podcast CSS. Be sure to follow us, like, subscribe, all the fun. Leave a comment below on anybody in town here in Colorado you'd like us to interview next. And we will see you for the next episode. And as always, Preston Gray, joined by Del Hayes.
Peace, y'all.
Appreciate it today, guys. We'll see you next time.
You gathered up the numbers and there's one more you could make. Well, that's it for me. I ain't gonna be the one that breaks your mold. Don't get me wrong, I wanna play your song, but your game is too dang old. Well, that picture that hangs on your wall could say 1,000 words, but there's sentences and paragraphs no one's ever heard. Well, you walk the walk and talk the talk, but have you sang and ran? Why you looking for Prince Charming when you want is a real man? Well, I ain't no bum, so don't play dumb. You know just what you got, so don't fall from grace right on your face.